because it was already on. Oh. Something did go wrong. How?
Supposed to just come off the bottom, isn't it? There's another one over there, or there might be in the back, but that's the one that works, right? I think I'll just go get part.
Okay.
I'm sorry, you're all just having to awkwardly sit there and wait.
Shut it.
We're waiting for another council member and batteries. We'll be with you momentarily. So now we have batteries, and now we have Jimmy. We can get started. Good excuse. So welcome to this special meeting of City Council. We only have one item on the agenda, but we're going to first start with an invocation. And I asked Chief Kyle Whitehead if he would offer the invocation for us.
Our Heavenly Father, we're thankful for this day and for the opportunity that we have to come to this meeting and choose a new city council member. We ask Thee that Thou will please be with those that are here today, that they will be able to share the thoughts that they have, that they will be calm and be able to get their message out. We also ask that Thou will please inspire and help those that are making the decision, that they will pick someone who will help move this city in a direction that it needs to move and continue what's best for its citizens. We're thankful for this process, and we're thankful that we live in such a wonderful country where we have the opportunity to elect and to pick those who lead us. And we say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thanks, Chief. And I've asked Brian if he would lead us in the pledge. Thanks, Brian. So our only agenda item is to interview applicants to appoint a council member to fill the remainder of my term as a council member, which ends in January of 2022. And in preparation for the appointment of the new council member, the city has followed the process for filling the midterm vacancies in accordance with Utah Code 20A-1-510. And the city recorder has prepared the applicant master list in accordance with the random master list that is issued by the Lieutenant Governor's office. Each applicant will be given 3 minutes to make a presentation. And because of the number of applicants, we ask that you please respect that time limit. The council members will be allowed to ask the applicants questions following your presentation. And we will go to that point. So, first up, we have Kelly Parker, then we'll hear from Rick Erickson, and then Frank Kuhn.
Hi.
Hi,
My name is Kelly Parker, and if you read the St. George News, they identified me as a she, not a he, but if you're disappointed, I'm sorry. But they did correct it the next day. So, I came to St. George when there was maybe one traffic signal here. I went to Dixie State College, no, it was Dixie College then. Served there, went there when Ralph Kerr and Alton Wade were presidents. Served on the executive council there and enjoyed my time in working with students and administration while I was there. Years ago, I worked as administrator of the Dixie Eye Center, which was a ophthalmology and surgical center. I've served in the Rotary Club in St. George and in the Exchange Club, and served as president of the Exchange Club for 1 year. The Exchange Club, if you don't realize, was instrumental in getting the St. George Marathon started and working with that, and had a lot of years of experience in volunteering in the St. George Marathon, and also working with the Parks and Recreation Department and supporting some of their projects. I've got the red sand in my shoes, and I've moved away but come back, and I do consider this my home, and I look forward to having the opportunity. I feel like I have good ideas and I work well with people, and I look forward to the opportunity of serving in this capacity.
Thanks, Kelly. Any questions for Kelly? as you all know, we've had your resumes and the application and your statement of why you want to serve on the council, and I know the council has gone through those over and over and over, so there might be questions in. Thanks, Kelly.
Okay.
Rick Erickson.
Thank you. Rick Erickson. It's a pleasure to be here, and it's an honor. The details of my resume you're already familiar with. I won't belabor those. The things that I've done within the community, the work that I've done, I think that's a matter of record. I wish to serve on this council, to be able to work with the men and women of this council from diverse backgrounds. Men and women who've got different opinions, but yet who can come together in the spirit of unity to find common consensus for the overall good of the community. I wish to serve on this council to preserve the legacy, heritage, and traditions of those who have come before us. Pioneers who carved from a desert this beautiful place, made so by the strength of their faith and their determination, while at the same time welcoming the newcomers, remembering those individuals and the traditions they come from, whether race, regardless of color, creed, national origin, that they bring their own traditions. And the traditions that they bring, we adopt and incorporate into our own, and thus celebrate St. George for generations to come. I wish to demonstrate by word and deed that civil governance need not be divisive and contentious as it is on the national level. Though individuals can disagree and they can hold strong points of view and strong opinions, they can nevertheless come together. I wish to leave a just and honorable legacy, never forgetting that what is done within the walls of this chamber and the walls of this building have lasting consequences, not just for the generation that we are part of, but for future generations as well. I wish to preserve the beauty of this area, our hills and valleys, to encourage new businesses to come to St. George, and by so doing, create jobs that will support families. I also wish to support the local businesses who are currently here, who've survived a very difficult year with COVID-19. I wish to honor the men and women of law enforcement and our first responders, those who daily, willingly lay down their lives, if necessary, to preserve the safety and overall well-being of this community. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my hope that if I am found to merit a seat on this council, that I will be able to repay the debt that I owe to 5 generations of individuals who lie now beneath the Red Hill soil, just a few blocks from here. I believe I'm the right person for this particular position at this time, because ultimately it is not about how many commissions or how many courts or how many committees we've served on. It's about the character. It's about the integrity of character. And ultimately, when that integrity of character is combined with an individual's inherent abilities, that is what makes for a successful city government. And that's what makes us proud to be citizens of a government that is run that way. It's my whole heart, and I put my whole heart behind this effort and what time and talents I have. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Any questions for Rick?
All right, thank you.
Frank Kewen, then we'll hear from Monty Kennedy and Ron Woodbury.
Hi, thanks for having me. I'm Frank Kuhn. I moved here about 15 years ago and fell in love with the city of St. George. Originally from Phoenix, lived in Salt Lake for a little bit. As you'll find out, I am not a speechwriter, so I'll keep this short. I'm not someone that wears a suit and tie every day. I'm a blue-collar worker. I've always have and probably always will be. But I want to progress myself and to give back to the city. I work with 501c, got my resume with different businesses, worked with different business owners, and I wanted to help support all those people. I want to help support the citizens of St. George and give them what's needed. I'm not a politician. I can't say I'm right. I can't say I'm left. I think most people, I'm right in the middle. And for that, I think it's something we need to look out for everybody. I'm a straight to the point kind of guy. I don't go around and beat around the bush. I'm not easily offended. I do know you can't please everyone, but we'll try to do the best that's for our city. I work with employees. I work, like I say, with business owners, 501cs. I kind of know the younger generation and the older generation and what they're looking for and what they think we need. I'm just someone that loves to serve and would love to serve in the city council. I think I'd be great in representing the constituents of our city. And I apologize, I got COVID brain, so. Other than that, I think that's it, and I'd love to serve.
Thank you, Frank. Any questions for Frank?
No, I was just really impressed with your resume, especially talking about BACA. Thanks for working with that group. It's a really neat group.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Bikers Against Child Abuse.
And who's got a really cool house at Christmas time.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Okay, that's right. Now I have the connection. Yes.
Yep.
Thank you for doing that, too.
All right, thank you.
Okay, we'll hear from Monty Kennedy and then Ron Woodbury. Monty's on Zoom? Okay.
Hi, can you hear me?
We can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. Monty Kennedy. I'm a retired aerospace engineer. My wife Maria and I moved here about 3.5 years ago. We love St. George. Why I applied for the city council job? It would be an honor to serve with the city council. Why do I think I should be appointed? A couple of reasons. I'm an outsider, so bring a different perspective. Help improve the infrastructure. I'd like to do that. And help get high-tech companies here in St. George. I think, you live here and a couple things are obvious. We have a lot of traffic congestion and would like to help improve that. Things like widening Bluff Street, very successful. Now started on River and Riverside area, double left-hand turn lanes. That's needed. There's other hot spots here in St. George that need to be addressed, like Green Springs exit. There's too much congestion there. And so that's a big part of what I think I could help to improve the infrastructure. And the other thing is to bring high-tech companies here into St. George. It's a beautiful area. There's no reason why some of these companies wouldn't want to locate here. The Tech Ridge on the old airport site is a great idea. I would like to accelerate that. That is going to be a beacon for high-tech companies to move in here and find out what we here already know about living here in southwestern Utah, the beauty of this area. Another key for bringing high-tech companies here is Dixie State University. Love the expansion that's going on with the new Human Performance Center. That's a world-class facility. They got a new engineering science building going up. They've increased the number of students. So in my experience, we lived in Tucson for 25 years, and I saw the effect that graduate programs had on the infrastructure and creating jobs, high-paying tech jobs and high-paying tech companies in the Tucson area. And so I hope that in the very near future, that Dixie State will start offering graduate programs in the sciences and engineering, because that research they can tie into local companies, and from that research, they can start local companies, technology companies, high-paying technology companies. And for example, the students that are in the mechanical engineering program, they're going to be graduating here in a couple of years. If we don't have high-tech companies here, they're going to leave. If we have a graduate program in place by the time they graduate, then they can stay on and get a graduate degree and start helping attract high-tech companies into the St. George area. Appreciate the time. It's an honor. Keep up the good work.
Thank you so much, Monty. Any questions, council? Okay, we'll hear from Ron Woodbury and then Benjamin Willits and Danae Bunnell.
Hi, how's everybody? Mayor, Council, good afternoon. My name is Ron Woodbury. Thank you for your time today. This is quite an honor. I love St. George. Like many of my ancestors, like many of your ancestors, mine started this community, and I want to help contribute to the future while preserving our heritage. I applied for the City Council to preserve the safe, family-friendly way of life we have in St. George. As a father of 2 children, this is very important to me. I believe nonprofits are the backbone of any successful community. I'll work tirelessly to make sure that our nonprofit organizations are growing at the pace necessary to keep up with the growth here in St. George. I love St. George arts culture. I'm a member of the St. George Arts Commission, and I'm committed to helping our arts community continue to grow. I also applied because I'm a little bit worried about the growth in our community. I'm a capitalist. I believe in free market. But I've been watching Austin, Texas very closely over the last few years. I visited there once a long time ago, so I like the place. And we're starting to see some things here in St. George that have occurred there in Austin, Texas. And you're even hearing on radio ads right now that if you sell a home today, there's a pretty good chance you're going to be homeless unless you have another place to move. We have a wonderful university here, and we have Dixie Tech as well. And if we can grow our businesses up on Tech Ridge and different places, homegrown with the knowledge that comes out of there, that's great. But we also need to make sure we provide a place for these students when they graduate and start businesses here, a place for them to start a family, homes they can afford to buy. Homes are pretty expensive right now, and my kids have even mentioned to me that it could be difficult for them after college to come back here to St. George to live in the town they grew up in because there's a lack of homes that are affordable right now. So I think that's something that's real important to the community. I'm committed to preserving our heritage, our police, our public safety, and our freedom. I'm a utilitarian, so I do what's good for the overall community. I will listen to everybody, but I know the squeaky wheel doesn't necessarily get the oil. It's what's good for the community. In closing, I'm a strategist. I've worked with a lot of nonprofits and some for-profit organizations, helping them build their strategic plan. And if appointed to the City Council, I would use those skills to help us with our city's general plan. I'm also a facilitator. A fundamental role of the city leadership is to listen to understand, and facilitate the dialogue of the community. And I believe my experience illustrates that capacity. Again, thank you for the opportunity. And may God bless St. George.
Thanks, Ron. Any questions for Ron?
Ron, I was just going to thank Ron for serving. He does a great job as he's currently the chair. Do we call you the chair or the president, Ron?
Chair is fine.
Chair of the Arts Commission, and he contributes a lot of time and energy to that, so thanks for that.
Thanks. Yeah, it's my pleasure. Appreciate it. Thank you. Have a good day.
Okay, Benjamin Willets, then Danae Bunnell, and then Jamie Ballman.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to be here and share a few thoughts with you. First off, I'm proud to be a resident of St. George. We moved here, my wife and I, about 15 years ago for many of the similar reasons why many end up here, whether you're born and raised here or whether you're a transplant here of just a week or two. The natural beauty surrounding us, the great abundant outdoor activities that we have at our fingertips, the great climate, the wonderful people, which is hard to find nowadays, and those intangible things that sometimes we don't quite know how to describe, but what quantify and are so evident in the community around us. All of these factors create that sense of place that sometimes we take for granted, and we don't quite know why that sense of place is here, but it's a very tangible thing, but it's hard to define sometimes. And as I've seen and been involved in the progression of the city and the growth of the city over the time that we've been here, I find ourselves now at a very critical juncture that we're in at this time, especially with the onset of COVID and the many unique challenges now face us, the very high in-migration that we now see coming in, and we're being catapulted in a very unique direction. I've reached a point in life now where I feel like the combination of my skills, both professionally as well as those from my life experiences, put me in a unique position to be able to help face these challenges together. Over the years, I've been actively involved in many things in the community, both from community events to nonprofit organizations, and I feel like this is a a critical time for us to solidify what that sense of place needs to be and to really define that for our future generations as well as us right now in the current situation that we're in. With that, why should I be appointed? I understand the importance of sustainable growth. I understand, again, having that and contributing to what that sense of place needs to be and maintaining what that sense of place needs to be. Over the 25 years in my profession as a land planner, I found creative ways to balance what those juxtapositions of both the built environment and that ever so critical preserved and sustainable areas that we all enjoy and like to go out and enjoy as our open space. I know that I will get to a point where we can also corroborate very closely with those who come before us and be able to say to them, hey, this doesn't quite fit our vision and our goal, but corroborate with them and work closely with them to find a way to say, hey, we can finally recommend approval for you. I know that I'm able to also interface well with many diverse groups. I've built up many key relationships, as you've seen in some of the letters of recommendation that I've had from some of the key elected officials as well as other appointed officials throughout the community that are so critical to working together and being able to create that sense of place that we all enjoy. I appreciate your time and look forward to potentially working with all of you. Thank you. Okay, thank you.
Danae Bunnell, then Jamie Ballman, then Natalie Brown.
Hello, I'm rethinking that monster that I drank before I came in here. So, my name is Danae Bunnell. I actually first came to St. George in 1996. At that time, I specialized in the F&B industry, and my intent was to come down here, open a restaurant, and complete my mission and get out and go back home. I actually ended up staying, never left. St. George was my place. I met my husband here, who is a longtime resident of Dogtown. For those of you who don't know what Dogtown is, it is Washington City, and that's just what they referred to it. The company that my husband worked for actually closed, and at that time we were forced to decide whether we wanted to seek, or if he wanted to seek a different career opportunity, or whether we were going to relocate. We decided to relocate to Iowa City, Iowa, which he finished his degree, and as soon as he graduated, he asked me where I wanted to go, and I said I want to go home. I love St. George. So we loaded up our kids. We were driving down the Black Ridge, and just coming down off that hill and feeling the temperature change, I just knew that we were home. We were going to finish raising our girls here. Our oldest daughter is buried here. Our other daughter, she graduated from Pineview High School, just like her dad, and our youngest actually is set to graduate from Desert Hills High School this year. We have deep emotional ties to St. George and this community and have always felt safe here. And then 2020 came. And I know it's been a challenging year for our students, our immune compromised, our parents and grandparents. I've never been more aware of the impact that our leaders have had on our communities. I never really got involved in politics on a city, state, or national level. As I watched cities burning, people writing, I needed and felt the need to get more involved. I understand the improvements we need in our community. We should preserve our historic past while actively pursuing ideas to ensure a brighter future for us all. My 21-year career in customer service and conflict resolution, as well as decision velocity, have provided me with skills and insights that I believe would be useful to the council seat, which include I actually had the opportunity to be a part of a small startup business here in St. George and bring it to a national level as an MVC licensee. I am currently working as the assistant general manager at one of the largest providers in the hospitality sector. My duties include writing budgets, forecasting, attending administrative duties, and overall health of the property. I pride myself in being honest and transparent.
Time.
I try to live a balanced life in all I do, and with work, family, and health, and decisions I make. I am committed to this community and the people that call it home. My goals are to protect our quality of life and support our business sector. Thank you.
Thanks, Danae. Jamie Ballman, then Natalie Brown, and Tanya Bronson.
Good afternoon, Mayor Randall and City Council members. While deciding whether or not to apply for City Council, I came across this quote by Martin Luther King Jr. "Use me, God. Show me how to take who I am, who I want to be, and use it for a greater purpose, greater than myself." St. George has a foundation because of the past and present leadership. The City Council members and mayors have strategically planned this thriving community, making it what it is today by serving the people. The question, why would I want to serve on the City Council, is a bit foreign to me. Why wouldn't I want to serve this great city, which I call home? My deep desire is to serve my friends, neighbors, and support my local leaders. For those that know me, know that people are very important to me. I value my relationships that I have created here in Southern Utah. I also like working through challenges and finding solutions. The city is faced with many challenges. One particular is growth. The pioneers that settled this area had the vision and the determination to put in the hard work to build this great city. I, too, have the grit and the work ethic it takes to work through the challenges we are facing. I have attended many political and community events over the past year and a half. Each meeting has been a stepping stone for my desire to become involved. As our governor said in his State of the State address, if we want smaller government, we need bigger people to make our communities better. I am motivated to serve more, listen more, and be active in my community. I am willing to roll up my sleeves and do the hard work it will take. I was raised on a turkey farm. A wise person said we should go into government to do and not to be. My values align with the mission of the city. We provide services that focus on people and advance a thriving community. There is a spiritual energy here in Southern Utah. Whether you believe in God, nature, or a different power, there is something special about St. George and its residents. I am qualified for this position. I have 20 years of marketing and public relations experience. I plan and carry out events and work strategically with business partners. I form key partnerships and work within a budget. I am a collaborator and an innovator. Just because we've done it in the past doesn't mean that is the solution. I'm a problem solver and I strive for excellence in everything I do. I am self-motivated and driven to achieve positive results. I grew up hearing from my amazing mother, hard work builds character. I guarantee I will work hard and be there to cheer each of you on as we work together. Thank you for your consideration, and I hope to have the opportunity to work with each of you.
Thanks, Jamie. Any questions for Jamie?
No, but Jamie, your boss called and left a message on my phone and gave you one of the nicest endorsements I've ever heard. He loves you.
Well, thank you. He's a special man, for sure. Thank you.
Natalie Brown, then Tanya Bronson, and then Gregory Brooks. Is Natalie here? Is she on Zoom by chance? She's on Zoom? Okay.
Hi, can you guys see me and hear me?
We can.
Okay, awesome. Thanks so much for having me. I love this opportunity. So my name is Natalie Brown. I've been a resident here since very early 2005. I am a local business owner and own 2 businesses. I started my first business in 2005. I'm a mother of 4. I am deeply involved with local charities like the Assistance League of Southern Utah and the Dove Center. And also I helped start the police and sheriff department, like a sponsorship program for the canines. I was kind of not sure about if I wanted to apply for this. When the seat came up, I had a lot of people come to me and say, you've always wanted to get into politics and you love city politics and you've helped tremendously. You've always been the go-to woman to get something done in business or for our charity. Like, you should definitely apply for this. You'd be a huge asset. So I have a deep love for St. George. I'm completely invested here. My children are invested here. I have 4 school-age children that all go to school here. And I see the city growing rapidly. And I think with my experience in growing a business from 200 square foot of storefront into having 15 employees and 2 businesses, I've learned how to make some not great decisions and learn from that, and then continue to make great decisions come out of it. And my form of business, I get to work with people that are residents, travelers, people that are interested in moving here. I employ people of all different ages, so I see what their concerns are in the community, living expenses, growth, job opportunity. And so I really feel that I made a connection with a lot of the residents in the community on what they want to see. And I feel that I'm an excellent decision maker. I would love to be on the council so that I can help make good decisions for the city. I want my children to graduate and want to raise their families here. I want this to be where we retire as my husband and I, and have my children have a great future here. I also believe in running a city is like running a business. You need to invest in your key resources to make it safe, to help it grow properly. And gosh, I have stuff, written down. I'm not a speechwriter, but I was top of my debate class, so that could help. Anyway, I do feel like I'd be an excellent candidate for this position. I hope that you'll consider me. I love politics. I've gotten on the politics side of all the nonprofits that I've worked in, and being on the board of a nonprofit, I was able to see all the things that happen behind the scenes. And, I hope you'll consider me. I love St. George, and thank you for all you do. Thank you.
Thanks, Natalie. Any questions for Natalie? Okay, we'll go to Tanya Bronson, then Gregory Brooks, and then Darren Orton.
Wow, I've heard so many good comments already. I'm honored to be here. Thank you. When I moved to St. George, I lived in Bloomington Hills, and I would take Fort Pierce.
Would you just get a little bit closer to the mic?
Yes.
Great, thank you.
So when I moved to St. George, I lived in Bloomington Hills, and I would come up Fort Pierce, and it automatically curved right into 700 South because River Road didn't go through. And sometimes St. George Golf Course would flood, and we'd have to drive all the way out and about and come around through on I-15. Or sometimes we'd have to take the back roads through Washington, and that was always a fun adventure. I mention that because there's a lot of comments that have been made about there's a lot of problems. There are, but I don't think that any of them are not insurmountable, and we have walked through St. George City, and its residents have walked through so many challenges, and come out on the other side stronger. So I think that a lot of the issues that have to do with our growing pains, thank you that we're growing. The balance is to find, I guess the challenge is to find the balance between good growth, positive growth, and nurturing what's already here. If you look at my resume has a lot to do in social work. I currently work as a counselor within the community. And I see firsthand, they asked me at work this morning if I was going to cry, and I said, I am not, until I heard Natalie's comments. And then I got emotional. But I love St. George, and I truly believe that if we nurture the family systems that are already in place and find balance within the profit and nonprofit, the community as a whole, the infrastructure, the humanitarian infrastructure will grow, and that we'll find solutions to traffic growth, education, finances. Having done a lot of for-profit and nonprofit, I feel like I've gained some awareness in fiduciary responsibilities and grant management. And I feel like I can really bring that experience to this council. And I hope to bring some balance, which I think you guys already have great balance, but I just kind of want to add to that. Anyway, thank you so much for having me. And I'm honored by the group that you guys have to choose from. Thank you.
Thank you, Tanya. Any questions?
Well, thanks for the work you do in our community. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Gregory Brooks, Darren Orton, and then Austin Anderson.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Councilman. It's an honor to be here today among all of these well-qualified individuals that applied. I read the article in the paper, St. George News, and realized that it doesn't matter who's selected. Whoever's selected is going to do an awesome job. I thought about what I could talk about today, and you've seen my resume, my letter. I decided to share a personal story about St. George and about me. So basically, I'm Greg Brooks. I'm a sixth-generation St. George native. I grew up just a couple of blocks from here, up on the Red Hill. Last house on the right was the way we always described it, right below the Brooks Pond. I went to West Elementary, Dixie Middle School, Dixie High School, Dixie College. Never really left St. George until I was 19 and decided to serve a mission for my church. And I left on my mission and went to the wonderful state of Indiana and got extremely homesick. And my aunt sent me a package, and in that package was a little jar of red St. George dirt she'd got from underneath the sugar loaf. And that dirt reminded me of who I was and where I'd come from. And wherever I went, I sprinkled that dirt. Not only figuratively, but literally, I sprinkled some dirt everywhere in Indiana I went. I came home after 2 years, got home, and I couldn't believe how much St. George had changed. But you know what? It was still the same. I still felt welcomed. I still loved the community. And I went on after that. I went on to pursue my career, moved away again for a couple of years, and I still had that little red jar of dirt with me. And again, I took it with me where I went, and I sprinkled a little bit here and there, again, figuratively and literally. I don't know, I thought I was leaving my mark somewhere. I don't really know if I was, but it was fun to do. Kind of made it an exciting game out of it. But eventually, I was hired back at SkyWest Airlines in 2002 and came home. When I got home, I took that dirt and I dumped it out because I knew I was home. I knew I was going to stay in St. George. So what does that have to do with wanting to be on the community, on the city council in the community of St. George? It has everything to do with that. St. George is my home. I want my children to feel that same way when they leave. I told myself I wouldn't get emotional. Yeah, I'm getting emotional. Sorry, it's my nature. I told my kids that I want them to come back to St. George, and I want my kids' to come back to St. George. As we grow, the city council becomes the point of where we keep this town either the way it is, the way it's going to be, or something completely different. And as a member of the city council, you all have that opportunity to give back to the community that way, and I want that opportunity myself. Thank you.
Thanks, Greg. Any questions? Darren Orton, Austin Anderson, and then Greg Aldred. You put on a suit, but you didn't shave.
Hey, that's my opening line.
Sorry.
No, I'm just joking. Hey,
I like the beard, though.
It is good to see you guys again. I'm glad you remembered me. I was going to ask if you did. I had a much longer beard. Due to the fact that I got no votes, I figured I'd listen to the people I asked for advice for last time, and I'd put on a little nicer suit, and I'd shave my beard, at least shave a few inches off. Really, I know you guys have a tremendous responsibility on your shoulders, and I was honored to be here last time. I think you made the right choice. it gave me great confidence that you voted for 2 of your colleagues, your peers that you had confidence in, and I'm confident that the city's in good hands moving forward. And I thought it would be disgenuine if I didn't raise my hand again and say that I'd be willing to serve on the city council. So here I am. I know you have a difficult time, and I think that the process would possibly be better than an interview. But I'll attempt to answer 3 questions I'd ask of myself if I was in your situation. So number 1, Darren, how do you have the time? My grandfather used to say that, hey, if you need something done, find the busiest person you know and ask them to do it, because you know that the job would get done. They're efficient with their time. They're organized. It's true. I'm busy, but I'm also surrounding myself with great people who run my day-to-day businesses. I have an amazing wife who runs my family, and I have the flexibility and the desire. I can jump in with both feet right now. Number 2, what makes you think you'd be successful in public service? I think the city is most closely representative of a large business. And I've had the opportunity to run large businesses, my own large businesses. And as such, I've gained some life skills that I think are largely transferable into public service. I've led large teams. I've solved complex problems. I'm comfortable with large budgets. But most importantly, I've learned the value, possibly the executives, the best thing they can do is take a step back. And I think people like Sean or like Adam here, talented, vetted professionals who have been hired to solve the city's problems, sometimes the best thing we can do as executives is get out of their way and let them do their job. And lastly, the question I'd ask, why? Why do you want to do this? I don't think that my reasons are selfish. It's certainly not for a salary or for career ambitions or that I have a business that's going to benefit from my involvement on the city council. Like everyone else, and like the bios I read online of you guys, I love St. George. I had the greatest childhood in the greatest city on earth. I want my kids to have the same thing. And I thought rather than complain, rather than just be a loud voice that complains, I'm going to raise my hand. I'm here to serve, and I'm here to be a problem solver. So my name's Darren Orton. I'd appreciate your vote for a seat on the city council. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Darren. Any questions for Darren?
No, but Darren, we had this whole room filled with Viva Chicken the other day. Shop local.
So I take that back. I do have one business.
Okay. Austin Anderson, then Greg Aldred, then Brock Soper. Did I say, hopefully I said the last name right. Austin, you clean up well.
Yeah, thanks. Good afternoon, Mayor and Council, and thank you for your service. It's hard for me to stand up here and tell you why I should be appointed over one of these other very qualified candidates. But most likely any of us will do a great job. But St. George has been very good to me. When I moved here almost 30 years ago, I didn't know anybody. Didn't have a job lined up. 19-year-old kid from Idaho. Coming here, I discovered St. George while working for a company that traveled all over the United States. And we'd spent a couple months on a project, and I was swinging a hammer here in St. George for 2 months and a golf club, both great things to do here. So I told my wife, hey, we're moving to St. George. So in 1994, I started my family and my business, AJ Construction. My oldest twin daughters graduated from Dixie High as valedictorians. My youngest daughter just got on the bus to go defend the state title for the Dixie Jetettes, super great drill team. And my youngest son just won the 3rd grade Dixie football championship recently. So, hey, we've had a lot of success here in St. George. And my company's had tremendous success. And I never would have dreamed we'd gotten to the heights we've gotten. And we've had the opportunity to build hundreds of homes, maybe thousands of commercial and homes combined, parks, worked on the expansion at Dixie State University. We volunteered at the Doctors Volunteer Clinic, at Switchpoint, and just the community has done a lot for me. And I don't believe my success here would have been possible without the countless hours of public service by you and all the many civic leaders that came before us, and I appreciate that so much. I'm in a position in my life where I can give back my time in a committed and constructive manner to keep building on the foundation that's been laid by our past civic leaders. You can tear down in a day what it takes years to build. I know that. And it's easy to cast stones, to complain and tear down, but it's hard to build. And I am a builder. And I humbly offer you your service. to the citizens of St. George, and I think I think my experience uniquely qualifies me to face the many challenges that St. George is going to see in the coming years. And I have the time and the opportunity to give back to the community that's given so much to me. So thank you.
Thank you, Austin. Any questions?
I just want to
commenting. Go ahead.
I just want to say thanks for all you do, but I apologize for not getting back
Oh,
with you.
you're
I've
good.
been in meetings.
No problem. I know you guys are super busy.
Austin,
you.
your downtown remodel is my favorite remodel
Oh.
downtown. I give you a little slow clap every time I walk past your
thank
building.
you. Yeah, that
It
was
looks so
that turned
good.
out really good.
It turned
We're
out so
pretty
good.
Proud of it.
Thanks for doing that. It looks really
bet.
good.
You bet.
Thanks,
Okay,
Austin.
thanks.
So Greg Aldred, and then Brock Soper. Hope I'm saying that right, and then Doug Solstad.
Some great candidates, good things. Did Carol call you to give me a good reference, Daniel? No, okay. You've seen my resume, where my expertise, so I thought I'm going to just share a personal story. I was right out of high school, signed up for the service, serve our country. I was leaving a friend's farewell. He was going to a mission to Japan. I was on my motorcycle. Car pulled out of a gas station. Hit the car broadside, broke my back in 4 places, busted me up pretty good. And so I had a little time in the hospital there to think about, would I walk again? I was an athlete, so the doc said that probably saved my life. But I share this with you to maybe understand where my heart was. And I had a good friend of mine who introduced me to the martial arts and karate. Because some of those who know me personally know I have that background. I carry a 4th degree black belt there, but I had 5 brothers, so why do I need karate, But anyway, it was a way for me to rebuild my body and strength and the flexibility. And I did go on and compete there. I actually, to the chief back there, remembers Russ Peck. A lot of you people remember Russ. He was our first lieutenant. I lost a grand championship to Russ, and Russ said I was the only guy who could hit a cop and not go to jail. Only in tournaments. So I built a good rapport with our police department. I have 2 nephews that serve. They're really great officers, and public safety is important to me. I'm speaking to the council, not the people back there, because you guys know where I've served our community and in the different organizations that I do. But I think being able to face an obstacle like life and just being able to perform, and I know many of you have faced similars, situations that maybe that you can understand why my heart has always been to serve when I can. I felt I was really given a second chance in life, and it's blessed me with so many things. On the resume, you see where I have expertise in energy and infrastructure and construction, and that was well said, Austin, and there's been such good candidates here. But I want you to know I've been here, raised 5 daughters, got some really sweet grandkids, and as many of these people will share with you how much we love this community. And we pray for you guys all the time, because you've got some tough decisions ahead of you. But I would like to serve, and so at this point I ask you for your vote. And if you have any questions.
Any questions for Greg?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. We'll go with Brock, and then Doug Solstad, and then Alberto, and I'm gonna crush the last name. Squasabia. Close? He'll correct me, I'm sure.
Well, you got Soper right, so that's good.
Good.
Thanks for that. Glad to be back again. I'm also glad I picked the purple shirt. I applied to be the mayor a few weeks ago as well, and I'm grateful for this opportunity to come back and talk to you about why I should be on city council, other than it being a dream of mine. I want to share with you why I feel I'll be the best candidate for the job. I have a strong vision for St. George, and the most important thing is to make it feel like home for everyone who comes here, visitors, residents. and I want it to be the city of choice. St. George shaped my life in so many positive ways, as many others here as well. I want St. George to continue to provide that same experience to all. I used to work for Salt Lake City Council, and one of the things we had to focus on there was trying to manage the hometown feel in such a large city. And St. George is currently growing at an amazing pace. And I feel that we can keep that hometown feeling that all of us want to stay here for while still maintaining manageable growth. As long as we continue to put the right city leadership in place. One of the challenges that an appointed city council member has is that they're thrust into the middle of a million things already in progress. Everything's already in motion, and there's a lot of projects that everyone's pushing, and to be thrust into the middle of that, you've got to know ahead of time what you're getting into. They don't have time to train you. You just got to know and hit the ground running. And I feel that as someone who's got a master's degree in public administration, someone who's worked with large city councils and local government my whole life, everything from one-on-one meetings with citizens to organizing large public hearings, I think I can step into the position and not skip a beat. St. George has been my home for many years. I attended Sunset Elementary, graduated from Dixie State University. I met my wife at Dixie and started my family here. So St. George is my life. I feel it's important for a city representative to be a longtime resident of their city. How could someone who just moved in know all of the challenges that are unique to St. George? You need someone who has seen the city grow and experience everything that has come with that. When I was a kid many years ago, I remember playing all over the desert that is now developed into many houses and businesses, and it's just the expansion is huge. But I always make sure to still get a little red sand in my shoes as much as possible. In conclusion, I feel that with these qualifications, I'm the best person for the position. I want you to know that I come before you not as a politician or someone who's seeking self-promotion or anything like that. I'm only here as a public servant to serve the city that I love. Thank you.
Thanks, Brock. Questions? Okay, we'll go to Doug Solstead, then Alberto Squasabia, and then Wendy Stabler.
Hello, everyone. My name is Doug Solstad, and I applied because, like everybody else here, I love St. George and I want to serve. My wife's family were some of the original settlers here, and we are raising our children here. I'm thankful to have the Dixie spirit infused in me and to be able to call St. George my home. I obtained a degree from Dixie College before moving to Iron County to get my master's. I've seen a lot of growth here during that time, and I know that there is more to come. Those are the reasons that I applied, but these are the reasons why I think I should be appointed. I'm a listener. It's important to me to hear what other people are saying. I'm a communicator. I ask questions so I can have a better understanding before trying to explain my point of view. I embrace the mantra of seek first to understand, then to be understood. I'm a leader. I own a small business and have held many leadership positions in our community. I have integrity. My all-time favorite quote is from a U.S. Senator that said, "If you have integrity, then nothing else matters. If you don't have integrity, then nothing else matters." I'm organized. I manage my time and keep my commitments. I'm a team player. I remember from my time in Leadership Dixie that all of us are smarter than any of us. We can all do better when we all work together. I'm an optimist. I look for the best in a situation, and I work to make that come to pass. I enjoy service. I've been involved in our community since I moved here over 20 years ago. I'm a problem solver. As a certified public accountant, I have consulted hundreds of companies on what they can do to improve. I understand business. I own a small business and have worked with hundreds of business owners over the nearly 20 years. I'm dedicated. As a member of the Washington County Planning Commission, I always read the packets in preparation of the meeting. I am involved. I have campaigned for City Council, and I will do so again. I believe in being a council member for all citizens. Council members do not represent a geographic district nor any particular group. I believe that our city is at a critical time. The town with one stoplight is gone, and we need to be looking forward. We live in a desirable community, and if we don't plan for growth, our children will look back and wonder why we didn't do more. I am ready. I will bring my background and my expertise, and will devote the time necessary to make sure that our city doesn't skip a beat. Thank you for your time, and I would be honored and humbled to have your vote. Thank you.
Any questions? Okay, we'll go with Alberto, Wendy Stabler, and then Steve Jennings.
Ladies and gentlemen of the council, Madam Mayor, the name is Squaw Sabia. I'm imported, there's a trick to it. It's squaw, like an American Indian girl, sab, like a Swedish car, and ja, like a German yes. You have no idea how many times I said that. So, who do we want St. George to be? What do we want St. George to be in the midterm, 10, 15 years from now? Imagine a slogan in the abstract. St. George, family first, technology friendly. That would be great. We have some problems to solve, some of which are obvious, like traffic growth. But there are others that are more nuanced, like changing demographics, and they seem harder to manage. What can we do in order to try and keep a good thing, make it better? We can act proactively. So changing demographics are difficult to deal with, but we can all see changes, and everybody sees the risk. We need to be able to assess the opportunity. There is a new normal going on here, which is work at home, right? Why not try to solve the problem in the concrete instead of the abstract and see what we can do, baby steps toward addressing that issue? Let's imagine that we introduce business-grade broadband internet, fiber, to every home in our community. That would, if we position St. George correctly towards the greater community, put us in a pretty soft and sweet spot. Family-friendly, family first, and technology-friendly. If we market ourselves to this audience, if we build it, they will come. This is a possible idea to address some of the growth problems with St. George. I have others that I would like to discuss with the council in one form or another. But I applied because losing and missing opportunities is a tragedy. St. George needs to deal with change. Change is inescapable. How we deal with it will establish the path. And the path will set the course for where we will be 10, 15 years from now. I can tell a good thing when I see one, and St. George is it. Let's make it better.
Thank you. Any questions?
Motto, and I really enjoyed reading your resume. You have a really impressive resume.
Thank you. Any more questions?
Wendy Stabler, Steve Jennings, and then Vardell Curtis.
Am I okay to start?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Good afternoon. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak today. My name is Wendy Stabler, and I'm here to discuss why I'm the best candidate for this position. I moved to St. George in 2010 as a single mom, looking to build a new life. I was quick to recognize the Dixie spirit in this community, which it's known for. The people here are so kind and genuine. I became fast friends with a widow who worked at my complex, and over the years, the single mom of 7 mentored me with a kind listening ear while giving solid advice and support. Watching her servitude nature, I realized this was a common theme within the St. George citizens, which gave me a love and desire to give back to the people and the city. In 2011, I was in a serious car accident that took me over a year to rehab due to critical injuries. Not to be defeated, I enrolled at Dixie State for a new career path, but struggled with some of the coursework and felt discouraged. One of our librarians here in town helped me for hours each day by sitting side by side with me in the library. She offered emotional and educational support, and I'm proud today to say she's still a friend. She's a good friend of mine. Due to her support, I was able to graduate with a bachelor's in English and went on and finished my graduate degree in professional communication. These female role models empowered me and made me want to serve our community. I started volunteering at Tuacahn in 2012, created the Traumatic Brain Injury Support Group at Dixie in 2013, founded the Founder Speaker Series at Innovation Plaza, and started and still advise the Dixie State Hiking Club. I also sit on the board for Start St. George and Silicon Slope St. George and assist with entrepreneurial and tech-rich growth. I currently work for Nomi Healthcare as the engagement manager, and I assist with COVID testing and vaccine solutions, and then have a small business. Last spring, I worked with Mayor Pike and the city to stand up the Test Utah test site here in our city. I'm equipped to address the current pandemic and able to guide the city with COVID response plan and best practices. I'm a passionate leader with a diverse international background and a team player who is proactive, solution-driven, and detail-oriented. I am committed to assisting with economic development vision, a clean air quality solution, and a synergistic growth plan while keeping our small town welcoming feel and environment. Further, I would be a conduit between our residents and City Hall and will strive to shine a light on the citizen and city concerns. I will bring innovation, vision to the city, and am a great candidate for this job. I love our community and will be devoted to making the best decisions for the city of St. George while supporting growth in the area through being fiscally smart and continuing to keep St. George and Greater Zion great. Thank you.
Thank you, Wendy. Any questions for Wendy? Thanks. We'll go to Steve Jennings, then Bardell Curtis, and then Suzanne Moore.
Mayor, City Council, Adam, and Sean. Get in front of the microphone so you can hear me. I appreciate the opportunity to stand in front of you, spend a few moments, and to share some information about myself. I better stick with my script because those that know me well know I'll never get it all in 3 minutes. So, my name's Steve Jennings. I'm 36 years old. I was born and raised here in St. George, and I truly consider myself to be a St. George native. As has been said many times today, I truly have the Dixie spirit in my blood and red sand in my shoes, and I just can't get it out. I was educated here locally. I attended East Elementary, Woodward, Dixie Middle, Dixie High, and I received a bachelor's degree in business administration from Dixie State College, and then went on to receive an MBA from Southern Utah University. I absolutely consider myself to be one of the lucky ones. And by that I mean that I had the opportunity to be educated here, to remain here, to raise a family here, and to go to work here in our community of St. George. I served an LDS mission in southern Mexico where I learned to speak fluent Spanish. I'm a family man. I have a wife of 15 years and 5 children. My family is my life and my entire world. They're growing up and attending our local schools here in our community. So why should you appoint me to serve with you on the City Council? I'm a qualified candidate that will bring a positive influence and experienced contribution to the discussions that come before the City Council on a regular basis. I'm a licensed general contractor and real estate professional focused mostly on commercial construction and development, who has been deeply involved in the growth and economic development of St. George over the last 16 years. As a result, I bring a unique perspective that I believe will be an asset to the Council. I understand many of the challenges faced by businesses, both large and small, right here in our community of St. George. Over the past 16 years, I've interacted with a broad range of people who are here in our community for different reasons. I've interacted on a regular basis with local, state, and federal government dealing with various issues. I understand the impact local government has on small business owners, and conversely, the impact small business for the better can have on our local government. Perhaps most importantly, I'm a husband and father who's excited for the opportunity to have a chance to contribute to and help shape the future of this community for my children and future generations to come. I truly believe that St. George is a great place to raise a family, and I want to help continue that legacy. I have strong roots in this city and strong ties to the past, but I also have strong ties to the future. And I look forward to making the best contribution that I can as I listen to and work with those who live here in our community. I want to continue to build the foundations created by forward-thinking leadership that has come before us, and I include yourselves. as we move into the future as a community. Again, I'm a qualified candidate that will bring a positive influence and experienced contribution to the discussions that come before the council. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, Steve. Any questions for Steve? We'll hear from Vardell Curtis, Suzanne Moore, and then Chantel Markle.
Mayor Randall, members of the City Council, thank you for this opportunity. I think it was Yogi Berra that said deja vu all over again, and he was certainly true. Like each of you, I suspect, as I went through all of the applications, I created a little checkbox in my mind, and I measured myself against the other applicants, which is a pretty humbling thing to do. But I will tell you that you've all read my resume, my application. I don't want to spend a lot of time talking about the past. I'd like to talk a little bit about the qualifications that I think make me an absolute great candidate for you to consider. I spent a number of years, well, 30 plus years in this community in service, whether it was in the business community, serving on the governing board at the hospital, and other places, which really prepared me for, I believe, what lies in front of us. And I was at a point about a year and a half ago where I thought I knew everything that I needed to know. And then, interestingly enough, I was appointed by the St. George City Council to serve on the Planning Commission. And at that point, I realized how little I did know and how much work in city government there is that goes on behind the scenes, whether it's with the staff, the Planning Commission, the City Council. There are so many moving pieces and parts to this machine. And in order to make it work, I think we all have to work together. So the first point I'd just like to share with you is this. That learning curve that will be required of the individual that serves on the City Council with you, I believe I've helped flatten that curve by the experience on the Planning Commission. I understand. In fact, tomorrow night, our agenda has 252 pages of documentation. There is so much work that goes on behind the scenes, and I'm proud to be a part of that. But the one thing that's so intangible and doesn't show up on any kind of resume or application is the ability for an individual to work with other individuals, especially if there are issues that you may not all have a consensus of opinion on. I would tell you this, I will vote my conscience the way I believe that the members of my community would want me to vote, and if it is ever contrary to the wishes of the City Council, my commitment to you is this. Once that vote is taken and the determination is made, I will defend that position to anybody, because that is how we work together. The last thing I would just share with you is this. 11 months is not a very long time. My commitment to you is if I am successful in this appointment, I will run for re-election. I will be part of this team for as long as the citizens will support me. My name is Vardell Curtis, and I'm asking for your vote. Thank you.
Thanks, Vardell. Any questions for Vardell? We will go with Suzanne Moore, Chantel Markle, and then Scott McNeil to that point, yeah. Suzanne is on Zoom.
Hello. The host has asked to start. Okay, we're getting there. Okay, perfect. We were disabled. Good afternoon, Mayor and City. Okay, sorry about that. Can you see me?
We can see you and hear you.
Beautiful, thank you. Good afternoon, Mayor and City Council. My interest in applying for the City Council seat is for preserving the character of St. George and those things that make it a desirable place to live and work. My outlook will be to think globally, act locally. I wish to maintain the rich history of the area with an eye towards progress and embracing diversity. It's an exciting time with opportunities in the global and tech business and other emerging industries. While change will come, the overall goals remain the same. Make St. George an attractive place to live, provide opportunities to earn a living, and keep it affordable for us and our children. I bring to the table a breadth of knowledge and experience, not just in one area, but in many, ranging from tax credits, low-income housing, industrial revenue bonds, telecommunications, power and utility companies. My scope of work includes businesses that employ locally and conduct business and export products internationally as well. Being a business banker is more than a loan writer, a number cruncher. It includes knowing your customers. It involves vetting a customer that makes sure that they're financially who they say they are. Knowing your customers and understanding their business is essential in determining if they are able to meet their obligations. Understanding the scope of a project, identifying the risks, mitigating those risks, and building contingency budgets are all critical to this process. I trust, but I do verify. One of my concerns is area growth and growing too rapidly for the city to keep up. Affordable housing is an important consideration right now. High density housing may be one solution. I'd like to see high density housing dispersed throughout the city and not just in one area. The concentration of high density housing in one area could place excessive demands on the schools, municipal services, and infrastructure, not to mention transportation. A revitalized, robust downtown area is also important. As we work towards re-energizing downtown, we need to bring people back after the workday. We're already well on our way, and it's exciting to see what has already been done. Open air cafes, restaurants, specialized bakeries, along with new venues for the arts, entertainment, and farmers market have already been successfully implemented on some of my favorite cities. An upscale grocery store with underground parking could be an anchor that attracts other complementary businesses and brings people downtown. I think it is important to continue to improve city and regional transportation routes, create more arteries to get from one area to another, and incentivize alternatives to driving. I feel strongly that any projects need to be thoroughly vetted to ensure they don't take away from the natural beauty. I'd like to pay it forward. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Suzanne. Any questions for Suzanne? We'll go with Chantel, and then Scott McNeil and Peter McMillan.
Hi, I'm Chantel Markel, and you ask, why do you want to serve on the council? A lot of my friends and family say, why do you want to serve on the council? Well, there's a quote that I think of often. It goes something like, someone somewhere is depending on you to do what God has called you to do. When I was in high school, I was in a civics class, and that's where I learned to love politics. And I thought someday I will be able to serve. I hope that day is today. I believe I am qualified to do that today after all these years of life experiences. My dad was a high school teacher in Bountiful, where I grew up, and he taught me to value education. And I also value educators, and I understand their needs. My husband, when I met him, was a police officer in Colorado, and I, for a short time, worked in dispatch here in St. George. So I definitely support the frontline workers. I was a foster mom in Colorado and here for over 20 years, and I have fostered over 75 children. I have adopted 4 of those children, and 2 of which are Hispanic, and I have 3.5 beautiful Hispanic grandchildren from that, and I'm grateful for that. I've also served as a victim advocate with the Dove Center, and so I definitely understand and honor diversity, and I also support and serve those that are most vulnerable in our community. As a realtor and a broker, an owner of a business, and most recently serving as the Women's Council, or the Washington County Board of Realtors President in 2020, I have learned much in the 15 years that I've been serving as a realtor. I've had the opportunity to attend many forums and many meetings about the Lake Powell Pipeline, attainable housing, and also how to attract businesses here to our community so that we can keep our children here working. I'm looking forward to this opportunity, and I hope that you consider me to serve on the council.
Thank you so much, Chantel. Any questions?
No, but wow, 75 kids. That's amazing. Thank you for that. What a wonderful service to the community.
Thank you.
Scott McNeil. I have a note that said he might not be here. Is he on Zoom? Okay. You're muted, Scott. Can we unmute him on our end? Or? Scott.
Are you there?
There you go. Now you're unmuted. We can see you and hear you.
I'm sorry. Hey, I just want to say the field of interviewees are tremendous, a lot of experience. I've got a tremendous amount of experience too. I've been in construction for many years. I've been in engineering, have an engineering background. I've done about $1.25 billion worth of construction. I've worked in California, Utah, and Florida and Georgia, and places all across America. But the main thing and the biggest reason why I want to help participate in taking care of St. George is that I think we're going to have a tremendous influx of people, which may even increase in the future. We draw a lot of people here because of the honesty, the integrity of the people. We have tremendous growth potential. But I think we have to be smart about it. One of your interviewees talked about Austin, Texas. That's where I'm at right now, visiting with my very fine-looking grandchildren. Austin, Texas is a place that's really outgrown itself, and it brings out some problems that if we're not careful, we can fall into the same trap that the people here in Austin have fallen into. So I want to help. I want to be in a position to help the people of St. George, not only to receive the necessities of life that we will need for a larger population, but also to preserve the integrity, the values that we have in St. George. I've been in St. George for over 15 years. 4 of my kids graduated from there. Many of my children still live in St. George. And I'd like to see my grandkids grow up there and have all the opportunities that they can have. So your vote would be appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott, and enjoy those grandkids in Austin.
Will.
Next, we'll hear from Peter McMillan, then Tara Hickman, and Natalie Larson.
Usually at this point at all gatherings at an hour and a half, people are allowed to stand up and shake it out if they would like. Could we do that, Mayor?
If
Just
they
for a
want
moment?
to, sure.
Okay. I would not be offended if you like to stand up. Mayor, council members, I am Muley Pete McMillan. I am here to fill the vacancy that you so desperately need to have a full quorum for your council. On Saturday, it was noted that I was going to put my name into the ring, and so members of the 3rd Ward, family, and that area wanted to make a letter that would give you their impression of myself. If you would like, I have copies of these for each of you. I could not give them to you earlier, but I'd like to take some of my time and just pass that to you, if that would be allowable.
Do you want to take them, Christina? And just...
Thank you. You'll recognize a few names on there, and they were quite happy to support me in this. First, I love my wife. Then I love St. George because she brought me to St. George. I met her while I was stationed in Fallon, Nevada, working in naval aviation. I have a 20-year career in that field. When she brought me to St. George, I loved it. That was in 1986. When I retired in 94, we wanted to come back here, and we now live about a block where she actually grew up from. I have life experience. I'm 65. I've had a couple of careers. I have a small business. I bet it's nothing like any of these businesses. I have a very specialized magic workshop that I make magic tricks worldwide for people. I want to be useful to this city. I want to give back to it because you've given me a history. You have given me something to be able to say, I'm a part of this. I grew up in Los Angeles. But now I can say St. George is my home. And I love St. George. You have my resume. You have the recommendation. I'm ready to go to work. At your convenience, I am at your pleasure.
Thank you very much. Any questions? Thank you for your service, too, by the way.
I appreciate that, but let me just say, for every taxpayer that gave me an escape and a career, I thank the taxpayers of the United States for doing that for me. Thank you.
Next is Tara Hickman, and I think she's on Zoom. Tara, and
hello.
We can hear and
yes.
see you.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me today. I appreciate you being witness to my first Zoom meeting. I'm in Disney World with grandkids, and as I thought about whether I stay or go with my family, I thought that's exactly why I would go on my trip, is because this is why I want to be on City Council, is to continue what I had growing up, and that's with my family. I had a family that served Washington County for the last 30 years. I have kids that live here and grandkids that I want to continue to be able to live here. And in 50 years, if they can say they also grew up in the greatest community like I can say, then I feel like I will have done my job as City Council. As I've listened to the council candidates, I've been humbled by all of if I could vote, I'd vote every one of the people in, because I feel that everybody has the right attitude in enabling St. George to become the greatest small town that is becoming quickly a large town. I understand, Sissy. And in doing so, we can't. I feel that as I see being a small business owner, that would be my focus, because I know that the small businesses in St. George have been the backbone to St. George. Thank you, honey. And gotta go lay down, baby. In the last 30 years, and with all the new high tech, I think we can marry new high tech with small business, and also gain all of the new infrastructure and all those problems that St. George is going to face. If we could create a Rolodex of everybody that has moved in, and also the people that we would be unstoppable. Our traditions are great. Our red sand and our heart of Dixie is great. I'm willing to be a team player, and I have the time and all of the assets that needed to be given. And if you would consider me to be the new candidate, I would be deeply humbled. Thank you.
Thanks, Tara, and enjoy the happiest place on earth.
Thank you.
We'll hear from Natalie Larson, then Susie Lafayette, and then Tasia Taylor.
big print. I am naturally intrigued by people, their stories, their ideas that are fresh to me. I listen to understand different points of view. Today has been remarkable listening to these individuals tell their stories. I've served on diverse boards throughout the area and have learned and appreciated works others have given this community, listened to their needs, their history, and the variety of thoughts in these groups. This is where solutions are found. When we work together to serve with each other, we find we are more alike than we are different. My interest in serving on the City Council comes from a deep love for my community. I've been an active volunteer throughout my life. Service gives me the opportunity to honor those who have served before me, to help the people now, and hopefully leave a better future for those to come. I understand serving on the council is a time commitment, and I will be willing and available to put the work in necessary to fulfill my responsibilities. As with today with many candidates, one of my favorite things at planning commissions meeting is to hear how long people have lived here. There's just something that resonates in me that like they belong to this community. They're feeling ownership in this community. I have been a native of Southern Utah since I was 4 years. Oh, I'm a native to Southern Utah, but only have been a resident since I'm 4 years old. I've witnessed the best in the Dixie spirit, neighbor helping neighbor, business building each other's business. The community has cleaned up after major minor floods, raised funds for numerous causes, supported the Doctors Volunteer Clinic, Dove Center, and Switch Point. But this year, this council shown when they gave us order, direction, and hope as this nation suffered, I always felt safe in my hometown. The terrain here is remarkable, and there's so much of our heritage and landscape and skyline we need to preserve and manage. I do believe in property rights. However, as a council, we need to look to the future to see the impact these critical choices have in the coming months. As a member of the St. George Planning Commission, I have driven, walked, and observed what surrounds me, the earth beneath my feet. I am grateful for the former planning commissioner who suggested I do so. I look at the traffic, the people, and try to envision what would happen here in 30 years with the decisions we make. I am inspired by my fellow commissioners' thoughts on what is before us as we work together on what is possible, and more importantly, what is the right thing for the city long term. I've appreciated your support of my service on Planning Commission. It would be an honor to serve with each one of you on the City Council. I am so grateful for the way each one of you have conducted yourselves in representing the city and would strive to join you in upholding the interests of the community. And I really do appreciate everything and the meetings I've attended with you. It's been very inspiring. Any questions?
Thanks, Natalie. Appreciate it. Susie Lafayette, and then our last one will be Tasia Taylor.
Mayor and City Council, aloha.
Aloha.
Thank you, aloha. I bring a voice and a perspective to the St. George City Council that reflects the needs and the attitudes of younger generations and more diverse communities. I'm the perfect person to connect the council to the thousands of young voting adults who connect via the internet and express their sentiments through social media. Growing up on the Navajo Reservation, the child of a white mother and a Samoan father, I have a unique experience in what it's like to be different, to be diverse in a very traditional society. I see that upbringing as a positive experience that helps me to communicate easily with others and value their diverse opinions and attitudes. It uniquely qualifies me to give voice to those who don't have traditional upbringings and helps me to see things from another perspective so that all people are represented in our community's governmental affairs. My past work experiences include working with the media, so I'm familiar with public information officers, law enforcement, and being able to know what the public wants. As someone who attended Brigham Young University, Hawaii, with a student body that was represented with over 80 different countries, I feel that I am open-minded to all and tolerant. As a community event coordinator and developer and a working citizen, I am proud to rub shoulders with old and young, small business and big businesses alike. With my past 10 years experience as Director of Operations and Event Coordinator for the St. George Area Chamber of Commerce, and now as a current employee of Washington County, I help create events that bring an entire community and an entire county together And it's through that synergy that allows me to really open my eyes to what the public wants. I bring youth, energy, and vitality to the council. I bring a point of view that's not abrasive, but rather synergistic with the rest of the council. I hope to help create a synergy that includes everyone in the community. Overall, I'm running to serve the community to give everyone a voice, and my background of service would prove that. I've served the children of St. George by being on the board of directors for the Washington County School District Foundation, Root for Kids, and the Assistance League. I'm a current board member of the Dixie Athletics Trailblazer Club and have been involved in local community theater as a volunteer actor at Brigham's Playhouse and Tuacahn Center for the Arts. I've hoped to give our veterans a voice, and by working with the Veterans Coalition, to remember and celebrate their military service in our Wall of Honor at the county fair. Where the motto is service above self, I'm an active member and participant of Red Rock Rotary. And just like the beautiful mural on the side of the St. George Art Museum, I am co-founder of Southern Utah Pacific Islander Coalition, wanting to bring hope and unity to our beloved community. I'm a doer, an active participant involved, and I care about what happens to this community. Thank you.
Thanks, Susie. Tasia Taylor.
A little tall. Mayor Randall, City Council members, thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today to express my interest in the vacant seat for City Council. My name is Tasia Taylor. I am the Marketing and Communications Manager for Intermountain Precision Genomics. I know my experience will help complement your existing council and the work that you've already done. In my application, I reference 3 key reasons for why I've applied for City Council. Number 1, my leadership. Number 2, my experience in marketing and public relations, and my work in equity and inclusion. Throughout my time at Intermountain Healthcare, I spearheaded the launch of the world-renowned Precision Genomics brand, with headquarters right here in St. George. My experience in brand recognition and reputation will be an added strength to this council. I directed public relations strategies that resulted in recognitions from all over the country and the world. In addition to clinical application, Intermountain Precision Genomics, or IPG, also has a research arm. In June of 2019, we launched the Heredogene Population Study, the largest genomic study ever conducted from a single population. Over the next 5 years, our aim is to consent 500,000 patients across the Intermountain West, with the goal to solve many healthcare genetic mysteries. My role in marketing communications resulted in millions of dollars in earned ad revenue, resulting in national attention for St. George. IPG is putting St. George on the map in a way that we've never experienced before. We're creating buzz around the world. St. George is no longer seen as just a tourism destination, but as a science and economic hub. We've created new high-paying jobs and collaborate with local organizations like Dixie State University to promote and hire local talent. I want to help promote the image of St. George. As we face issues as a city, I want to help craft a message of honesty, transparency, and clarity for our constituents. I'm confident in my ability to help navigate difficult and complex conversations. Through my equity and inclusion work, I direct our new women's initiative at IPG called Women Leading with Precision. My purpose is to create meaningful leadership experiences and connections while providing education specific to challenges women face in the workplace. I'm also involved in other women's initiatives, and I'm excited for the opportunity to support the work the city is already doing with the City Women Group for Employees. Being born and raised in Utah, I'm excited for the opportunity to help plan and manage growth while welcoming diverse populations to St. George. Thank you again for your efforts and for the opportunity to speak with you today.
Thank you, Tasia. I had an oncology appointment today, and my oncologist put in a good word for you.
Oh, good. That's always good.
Yeah.
Is that Dr. Haslam?
That's Dr. Haslam.
Derek's the best. Thank you.
He is. Thank you. We have had some amazing candidates today, and I don't envy the council. For once, I don't have a vote. So the council gets to do all the heavy lifting today. But every one of you gave an amazing 3-minute speech, and I truly believe that your hearts are in the right place, and you have a difficult choice ahead of you. So, Council, do you have any discussion you want to have before you vote? Any comments?
I'll go ahead and make a comment, if it's okay.
It's okay.
Quite frankly, I've been, I guess, edified is the word tonight. This has been amazing to listen to all of you and some of your life experiences. And it's a little bit like reading the obituaries. Don't ask me why that came up, but I mean, seriously, I think of all the experience that's out here, and you read about that in an obituary. I've heard what you all have been involved in, and it kind of makes me realize there's a lot I need to do still, and that there's a lot of things going on out there that's not happening just by the city council, but all of you and all the volunteer work you do and all the things that are going on by regular old citizens like you is amazing. And so after this whole thing happens tonight, I want you to realize something, and I'm kind of trying to circumvent any speeches about the whoever gets picked tonight is the best candidate, because quite frankly, there are a whole bunch of best candidates out here. And it's a little bit like, I've done a little livestock showing with my children. I don't want to compare you all to livestock, but it's okay because I've been compared to a mule's butt. So sometimes we get in a stock show, and at the very end, there's like 3 or 4 beautiful animals to pick from, and invariably the judge will get up, and it drives me nuts, and they'll say, now, these 4 animals or 3 animals on any given day, on any certain judges, it could turn out differently than it does tonight. So I just want you to know you all are in the running tonight, and you all have the capability, and you all could do this job. It'll be different, but you all could do this job. And remind you, there is an election coming up. Go ahead and run. It's fun, sort of. But I am deeply inspired by all of you, and I just want you to know that, and to know that tonight we're going to pick one person, but don't take that personal, because really there is a whole bunch of one persons that it could be tonight, and I thank you for that.
And I'd like to say that this is amazing, because I was sitting in that seat a year ago, and I appreciate every one of you. You are all very qualified. And please, if you don't get it tonight, run again in 8 months, because you're all very, very well qualified to do this. So thank you for applying.
Yeah, so I'll add, just as a comment, when we chose the mayor a couple weeks ago, it was such an emotional experience for me. I made mention of that at that time. I felt that again tonight, and I was just reflecting upon that. Why is this such an emotional experience? Is because we get in a room with a whole bunch of people that have the same experience that I've had here in St. George, a place that I love, that I truly just, it's a passion for me. And that's the reason why I'm serving. And I think everyone in this room that's applying for this position is the exact same reason why. We want to preserve the things that we just give us so much joy. So that's why it's such an emotional experience. The other thing that I want to make mention of is also because it's very humbling. I think all of us up here are extremely lucky for the opportunity to serve in this capacity. And it's just humbling to see that there's so many other people that are as qualified as us. And so it's a humbling experience. I'll make mention again that I did this process 2 times. Where I came and gave my 3-minute speech before I had the opportunity to serve on the city council. So please continue to run, continue to stay involved. It's worth it. This decision we definitely do not take lightly at all. I've had, and I maybe can speak for the rest of the council up here, had sleepless nights for the last week because of the difficulty in choosing this, just because so many people are qualified, and how do you choose? So those are the comments there.
I'll just say amen to everything my fellow councilors have said. Councilman Hughes said exactly what I wanted to say, and he usually says it better than me, and he did today. He said it very well. I read through all of your applications actually several times and took a lot of notes before I got here and took more notes tonight. And, just putting all of your service alone together, it's just unbelievable, like all that you're doing, just the people in this room. it just shows what an amazing community we live in. I've had several people say to me, oh my goodness, I can't believe 28 people applied. And I think that just shows what kind of a community we live in. I felt the same with the mayoral race. What if we lived in a community where nobody came and nobody applied because they didn't love their community and they didn't love their space? So we have the exact opposite problem. We have so many people that want to serve that we have to make a choice tonight to choose one of you. And I, like my fellow councilors, hope that all of you stay just as involved and run this year. If you want to run, you should go for it. I just met Tasia Taylor the other night for the first time at the gala, and she's young and she's already so involved and so influential and so amazing. And I just was so impressed with that. Susie Lafayette, she is quite possibly one of the most beloved members of our community. I can't tell you how many people sent me, like, not just I love Susie, but like it all had to be in caps and a lot of exclamation points, and it's like so loved. And Natalie Larson, I've just loved her forever. And I asked Jimmy after she sat down, I said, did Natalie start the Dixie Junior Livestock Show? And I don't know if she started it, but the only reason there's life breathed into it is because of her. And my kids were beneficiaries of that for quite a few years. And I can go through every last one of you. Mr. McMillan, you are delightful. Good speech giver. And
I heard her say she liked your suit.
I like your suit. It is. It's very nice. I can go up through this list, and every one of you are just amazing people, and we're so grateful for you. So thank you for being here tonight, and just let me express, my gratitude to you for just being such amazing citizens.
Okay, council, in front of you, you have a purple ballot, and that's the one you will fill out and pass my direction.
I do have to say, Mr. McMillan, I don't know if anybody else thought of it. When you said you had a magic workshop, I thought you were going to tell us you were Santa.
He shaved his beard. All right. Councilman MacArthur votes for Rick Erickson. Councilman Smethurst votes for Vardell Curtis. Councilman Hughes votes for Natalie Larson. And Councilmember Larkin votes for Vardell Curtis. So there is not a majority vote. Needs to be 3 votes. So now you will vote again on your blue ballot and pass it my direction.
And just for clarification, Council, your votes this round would only be for those who received a vote in the first round.
Yeah, they are. Just scribble your name out at the top.
Just give me that one and I'll fill it out too.
You know, Jimmy, you just fill them all out.
I'm teasing.
That's okay. It's a Monday. Yes, you did. We'll forgive you.
There would have been a surprise there.
Yeah, it would have been a big surprise. Okay, Councilman Smethurst votes for Vardell Curtis. Councilman MacArthur votes for Rick Erickson. Councilmember Larkin votes for Vardell Curtis. Councilmember Hughes votes for Natalie Larson. Again, there is not a majority. So now I'm going to turn the time over to our city manager, and he'll tell you how this process goes, and I promise you, we didn't make it up.
This is one of those things you've heard about but probably never seen. We're going to flip a coin to see who advances to the next round. This coin flip is going to take place between Natalie Larson and Rick Erickson. Let's see. For selecting the side of the coin, we are going to allow ladies first on this one. And I'll ask if there's any objections to allowing Miss Larson to choose heads or tails. Mr. Erickson, are you okay with that? Let's see, where is Mr. Erickson?
He left.
He left.
So-
Okay, Miss Larson, heads or tails? And actually, why don't you come up and view this coin?
No.
This is not your average coin. We've got the old city logo on one side, and then we have a color picture of the Sugarloaf with Dixie on it. Okay, so which side would you like to choose? Okay. Do the honors. All right.
Smart advice. So now you will only be voting for Rick Erickson or Vardell Curtis. On your yellow ballot, make sure your name's at the top is right. Believe me, when Sean came in to tell me how this process worked, I was like, seriously?
Would you have rather voted for the tie?
Huh?
Would you have rather voted for the tie?
Well,
I don't know what's worse.
True. The coin toss worked. Councilmember Larkin votes for Vardell Curtis. Councilmember Hughes votes for Rick Erickson. Councilmember MacArthur votes for Rick Erickson. Councilmember Smethurst votes for Vardell Curtis. So again, we go back to the process we just had.
Again, in light of the fact that Mr. Erickson is not here, Mr. Curtis, which side of the coin would you like to choose? Sugarloaf. Sugarloaf again. Okay.
Good choice.
Mr. Erickson.
Mr. Erickson will be the next member of the City Council. And that swearing in will happen on Thursday. So since this was a regular meeting, do we need a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Brian, second by Danielle. All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned.